So let's talk about Letter to Liberals. Why this book and why now?
Well, I'm one of the things that this book came out of an argument I had, or a debate that I had with a former colleague of mine, John Morgan, who is a former law partner who is very, very much part of he very much ascribed to the pandemic orthodoxy, to the government orthodoxies. He loves Anthony Fauci. And he believes what he was told about masks, about lockdowns, about the vaccine safety, about the vaccine efficacy, and about social distancing and closure of schools. And we had a discussion about it during the pandemic. It was really an email and text discussion where we would send each other studies back and forth, scientific studies, with some commentary on them. And to me, it struck me that that's what we should be doing as a nation, as a people. We ought to be able to have a congenial debate about government policies. And that has been absent. People who disagree with the orthodoxy or who question it are not treated respectfully. They have been vilified, marginalized, and doxxed and deplatformed and treated as kind of dangerous heretics, and in other cases like second-class citizens, like in some cases, children who have not taken the vaccine for religious reasons or medical reasons have been denied medical treatment in hospitals. Politicians and celebrities have argued that they should be people who decline to be vaccinated should be jailed or should be punished or should be denied constitutional rights, including our president, Joe Biden. And this has always struck me that this is contrary to the liberal tradition. Liberals traditionally love disputation, they love contention, they embrace debate. They understood that the free flow of information is the sunlight, the fertilizer of democracy. That the entire core of liberalism is this belief that came to us from Jefferson and Madison and Hamilton and Adams, people who clashed with each other on so many other issues. But the one thing they really felt strongly about was free speech, and they felt that a democratic society could not function where there were impediments to the free flow of information, because the free flow of information annealed in the furnace of debate would yield the most beneficial public policies. That debate, that the conversation, the open conversation and the exchange of information would really feed the best government policy. So they said, all of them said, we put the freedom of expression, the guarantee of freedom of expression in the First Amendment, because all of the other rights that we're creating for people in the 10 amendments at that time are dependent on it. That if a government has license to silence its critics, it has license to commit any kind of atrocity. Mm-hmm. And we saw that our Bill of Rights really plowed under during this pandemic. We saw these unprecedented constraints, government-dictated constraints on freedom of speech, where for the first time, Americans were not allowed to criticize their government or government policies. And predictably, all of the other amendments to our Constitution and the Bill of Rights collapsed. The First Amendment also guarantees freedom of religion, but we closed every church in this country for a year without any kind of public hearing or scientific citation. It was just an individual who's been in government for 50 years and never won an election who said, lock them all down. And he has since said in April of this year, Dr. Fauci acknowledged in a television interview that lockdowns don't work. and that the only purpose of lockdowns is to force people to get vaccinated. That's not what we were told at the time. And they went after freedom of petition and freedom of assembly by creating, these social distancing mandates that were designed to keep people apart rather than create a feeling of community and keep people together. And then they went after, of course, property rights. The Fifth Amendment guarantees property rights, and they closed 3.3 million businesses in this country without just compensation, without due process, which is a violation of the Constitution. They got rid of the Seventh Amendment guarantee for jury trials. The Seventh Amendment says, it's very simple. No American shall be denied the right of a trial before a jury of his peers in cases or controversies exceeding $25 in value. There's no pandemic exception. And the founders knew all about pandemics. There was two epidemics during the Revolutionary War. There were smallpox epidemics every summer during the first 30 years of our country. One of those epidemics, a smallpox epidemic, shut down the armies of New England for several months and really stopped us from taking Canada. Canada, without that smallpox epidemic, would have been part of the United States almost certainly today. And then there was a malaria epidemic that crippled the Army of Virginia. So they knew all about it, but they didn't put it in the Constitution. And then when they went after the Fourth Amendment guarantees against prohibitions against warrantless searches and seizures, with all this kind of very intrusive track and trace surveillance and, having to disclose your medical records when you go into a public building, et cetera, and on and on. So all of the amendments, probably with the exception of the Second Amendment, were eviscerated. And these are this was the bedrock upon which liberal orthodoxy, the Liberal Party, JFK, FDR liberalism has stood. And then finally, not finally, but, significantly, all of the lockdowns and these countermeasures were a war on the poor. The people who really suffered during the pandemic, and really, blacks lost 3.25%, or three and a quarter life years. So life expectancy for blacks dropped dramatically, and for whites, but for blacks more than anybody. The children were had a terrible time. We now have, the Brown University study shows that children lost 22 IQ points during the pandemic. These are all things that, we have built the liberal doctrine on helping the poor, on helping minorities, and protecting civil rights, and above all, free speech. And all of those things were abandoned during the pandemic. So I wanted just to kind of write a very, very gentle book that reminded liberals and my party, the Democratic Party, of the things that we're supposed to stand for.
There's so much to love about fall, right? From the cooler temperatures to the changing leaves, everything pumpkin spiced, Halloween, everything. Love the whole season. What better way to soak up the best of the season than with a Michael Phelps swim spa by Master Spas? A Michael Phelps swim spa combines the benefits of a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. It comes in a variety of sizes to complement almost any yard, even if it's a small one. Master Spas worked with Michael Phelps to develop an at-home training and fitness solution that you can use year-round in any season, even in the winter. As your fall calendar fills up, a Michael Phelps swim spa is the perfect place to spend time together as a family. Michael Phelps swim spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas, the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. It is energy efficient. You can use it all year long. Go to masterspas.com, put in the promo code MK to save $1,000 on a Michael Phelps swim spa or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. That's masterspas.com, promo code MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.